Grab a cup of coffee in your favorite mug, get out those art supplies, and tune out the demons for Let's Make Comics with Stephen Emond. Tune them out, I said. You can do this. Don't listen to those voices for the love of everything. Just make comics.
Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Make Comics. I'm Steve Emond. We did a bookshelf video for Chandra. She has an amazing amount of comic books. Mine is a bit less so probably going to be a shorter video. So right up front I have the last three things I read, which are all Junji Ito. So we have Tomi, which is the first book he did. It's actually the last thing I read. These are dark books. This is a succubus who keeps getting killed and coming back and driving men crazy. Kind of interesting in today's climate. Be interesting to see what people would say about it today versus the 80s when it was written. Before that I read Geo, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's about stinky fish creatures that invade the land and create some kind of apocalypse scenario. And Spirals, which is such an abstract idea. It's a horror novel about literal spirals everywhere, and the book itself is a spiral into madness, and it's probably my favorite of the three. It's really amazing and inspirational. I've got my little manga section back here. I used to have a lot of manga, but I don't have a lot of it anymore. I guess over the years I just started losing it. But Love Hina, I actually read the entire series of this. It's like a harem manga about a guy that moves in with a bunch of girls and he's in love with every one of them, and I don't know why, for some reason it just really kind of hooked me in. Amy Reeder's Fool's Gold for Tokyo Pop. Sophie Campbell's The Abandoned, Christy Lajewski's Replay, Becky Cloonan's. I wanted so bad to do some of the Tokyo Pop stuff. Like, even before I did Emo Boy, I was trying to pitch stuff to Tokyo Pop and trying to develop a manga style, and really cool seeing all these people that I'm still a fan of today, and the stuff they did there, even though they all got kind of screwed by them. Let's see, I have a few indie things here. Jeffrey Brown. Oh, this is actually cool. This is called Bags. It's by Patrick McHale, who did Over the Garden Wall. And he did this little book with these creepy, weird little childlike illustrations. It's a very short, tiny little book that he did as just this little side project. It's pretty friggin' cool. What else do we have? I have a lot of stuff from the mid-2000s. That was I've been collecting comics since the 90s, but my indie run was definitely in the 2000s. Jason Marcy's Jay's Days. I actually illustrated a book for him, but autobiographical comics. Let's see here. Dave Roman, Shannon and I's friend Dave, did this book of video game art. I did do one thing, which he actually saw I posted probably on LiveJournal or something, and he asked if we could put it in the book. I wanted to do these kind of epic paintings of video game stuff, so this is Donkey Kong here. Diesel Sweeties going into the 2000s. Totally random. I remember hanging out with a friend at one of the New York Comic Cons, and we went out to this cupcake place, and our Steven was there, and we were friendly, and he made me look like a huge famous person, which was cool. Let's see, more 2000s webcomic stuff. I really wanted to have a cool webcomic back in the 2000s, back in the Keen Spot days when everybody was doing these daily comics, and never quite had it. I'm trying to do a webcomic now, and I'm still not sure if I have it. This one summer, obviously enough people have read this. Beautiful art, nice story, nice atmosphere. It's very Summer. Here's a bunch of James Kacholka stuff. Super fuckers. I'm trying to remember if they actually swear in this. Pretty sure they swear repeatedly in this. Anyways, it's very cutesy and very vulgar. The sketchbook diaries, I was really obsessed with these. He did a daily comic strip that was about something that happened in his day, and did that for years and years. I think for a while that's pretty much what he was known for, were these sketchbook diaries. So I got a bunch of these. One of his early Magic Boy and Girlfriend comics here. Early James Kacholka stuff. This is kind of a random comic, but I remember being really into the webcomic of this, Gunnar Krigg Court. I just liked the kind of creepy but simple atmosphere. It's kind of a dark mystery. I don't even remember a lot about it, but I did enjoy this comic. I'd like to actually read that again sometime. Some early Steve comics here. This is something I actually put together myself. My friend Danny Boy, who's part of my Steve Areno comics, worked at a print shop where I would print like these monthly comics I would send to my friends, and we put together this book collection of everything just as this I don't know if I spent a couple $100 on it or what. Tried to put all the comics that I did together into one big book. So that's totally self-published. If you call it published, I don't remember who actually got to read that. So we got some more mainstream stuff, which is Hellboy. I love Hellboy. I don't know how many people remember Jay Lee's Hellshock, but this was a early comic that he did for Image, and it was his first like kind of self-creator-owned, written and illustrated thing. There was a really cool early version of it. This is the unpublished version, which I think was actually cooler than what they published. But art's awesome. It's about this guy that thinks he's some kind of angel, and you can't tell if he is or not. The original pitch had all these like villains and monsters and crazy stuff in it that looked awesome. What he ended up actually publishing was just kind of a psychological thriller drama kind of thing about this psychiatrist and this imprisoned guy that thinks he's an angel. So went way off from what it originally was supposed to be, which was kind of a really dark version of mainstream comics. I would have loved to have seen that version. Battle Chasers was big influence to Teen Steve. This is like every late 90s RPG, JRPG made into a comic book, basically, with really cool comic book art. Powers, I have a lot of Powers. Sandman, Walking Dead. Have not read a lot of Walking Dead, but I do have that omnibus. Lots of Hellboy, I love that. Here's a bunch of my art books. I love just kind of browsing through these to get inspiration. I mean, Joe Quesada, I love his comic book art. I think he's definitely one of the greats. I could just kind of stare at any one of these for a good amount of time. Just so much detail and perspective. Something about the way he draws I love. Batman, the animated series here. This had a lot of really cool backgrounds and awesome art in this. Definitely another thing to browse through and get inspired. Todd McFarlane, all this kind of early art into Hulk and Spider-Man and lots of cool stuff. I was a huge McFarlane geek. Spawn was basically, that was my shit. That's what I wanted to do as a teenager, was be the Spawn artist. So good. George Perez, Amanda Connor, any kind of comics art book I'm into. This is a Jim Mahfood, who is big inspiration too. This little autobio comics, lots of words, lots of text. But man, just everything looks so cool. That's a lot of words. Oh my god. Jim, come on. Jim, it's too much. What else do we got? So we got my Stephen King stuff here. I'm not a huge reader. I love books. I wish I was better at it. I did read all of the Dark Tower books. I became obsessed with those. I read The Stand in its entirety. I thought I'd be able to do it because I enjoyed the movie, but I got maybe a quarter in and I ran out of steam. Stephen King on writing is amazing. It's here, Dave Eggers. I like Eggers' books. A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius was another one that I was able to read in its entirety and was super fascinated with. I have a few scripts for movies that I really liked, like Magnolia. What else do we got? Powers. This is a cool look at noir cinematography. Lots of frames, still images from old noir movies. I was really into that circa 2013 when I was working on Bright Lights, Dark Nights. More art books. We got Steven Universe art over the garden wall. We got a handful of comic books, more Hellshock, Wildcats, Spider-Man. These are all kind of comics from back in the 90s that I just couldn't get rid of. It's so much a part of who I am. Look at this shit, that's cool. More Jay Lee. I guess I'm a big Jay Lee fan, but yeah, I don't know, a lot of my favorites. I lost a lot of stuff. I sold a lot of stuff. I used to have like all of Savage Dragon and all of Spawn. I think I sold most of those. All right, back over to this side. This is etc. This is more literary stuff. We got our Vonnegut, and Perks of Being a Wallflower was a big inspiration in my young adult career. I really liked the J.D. Salinger books. So I was reading a lot of that when I was writing Wintertown. Codependent No More. If you ever go through a horrible breakup, I recommend it. This is a good one. EEE was totally weird. I don't know how to even describe this book as like a fever dream of weirdness. And it's kind of simple, easy writing. It's easy to get through and read a full book. Autobiography by the lead singer of Eels. Poetry, Sylvia Plath. Bukowski poems, As I Lay Dying, all the fun stuff there. Let's see here, David Sedaris, who doesn't like him? So this is all kind of literary stuff. Tolkien. I read The Hobbit. I tried to read the rest of the Lord of the Rings stuff, and it's a lot. Get into a lot of reference stuff, story writing stuff. These are all how-to writing books. Basically, this is my writing school, is reading a lot of these things. Avenue Q. If you haven't seen Avenue Q, it's one of my favorite plays. It's just filthy puppets being filthy, and this is a cool book about the creation of the show and how it was originally going to be like a Sesame Street for adults on HBO or something, but ended up on Broadway. This is super cool. Indie rock coloring book, Depressed and Anxious. Civil War. I was working on a Civil War project for a long time, so I have all these books on history and Civil War. My favorite middle grade inspiration is the Wayside School collection. These are all little 1 or 2 page short stories of this bizarre school, and they're all just total non sequiturs and randomness, and it's very if you're into weird humor, it's got a lot of funny weird stuff. And we get into young adult things over here. John Green, Sarah Ockler was super cool to me. Jandy Nelson, I did a panel with her, and Matthew Quick books. And then we get down to my comic strip stuff. I mean, a few other things. Wes Anderson collection here. The Art of Noir, I should show you that. These are all back in the days when I wanted to be a comic strip artist. Super into Foxtrot and Zitz and Calvin and Hobbes. This is randomness. I know he's a questionable figure these days, but Woody Allen as comic strip. This is back in the 60s or 70s or something. Let's see, under these, it's a comic of Woody Allen as your daily newspaper comic, which is very strange and odd curiosity. This thing is pretty beautiful. This is, I was gonna do these kind of noir posters as chapter breaks in Bright Lights, Dark Nights. And I bought this book that's just full of these awesome works of art. Just so cool. And yeah, that's about it. That's my bookshelf. This is Let's Make Comics. I am Stephen Emond. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you soon.
Excelsior, friends. Like, comment, and subscribe for the no prize. You'll be doing us a great service. And yourself.